Okay, welcome to the 2024 Asia Pacific Photography Awards under 18 category, sponsored by Ilford. Thank you very much, Ilford, for your support. Welcome to entrants watching this. Welcome to our judges. On the panel today, we are lucky enough to be joined by Michelle Fay, Matt Palmer, Johan van Kaan, Rachel Smith. Who else is on the list? Simone Jackson, that's who it is. A panel of esteemed judges and myself, Jason Blair, your NZIPP president and panel chair. This year, the under 18 category is working a little bit differently. There's not a standalone category, but we have pulled the top 10 entries by under 18 entrants from across all of the categories. They were entering the same categories as everyone else. We've pulled the top 10 out for this live judging, and consequently, we will also be judging them to the same standard as professional photographers. So it's a high standard of judging, and we hope this will be a valuable bit of feedback for these young entrants and encourage them on in their photographic endeavors. So they've done really well to get this far, and wish them the best in this judging. And so, without further ado, here is your first image. And we have an initial score of 80. That is a silver award and very consistently scored. Thank you, judges. I would love to hear some constructive feedback for the photographer. Matt's got his hand up. Get into it.
Yeah, the photographer's done a fantastic job. It's beautifully sharp. There's that lovely tension between the wing and the water there, and then you've got those luscious reflections in there as well. I think in terms of improving it, maybe just hold back on the crunchiness of the blacks a little bit. It is very contrasty and probably doesn't need to be quite as contrasty. And the panoramic crop is a good choice for the shape of the bird as well.
Thanks, Matt. And here's the next image. Okay, and we have an 81, which is a silver award, but there are a couple of people in the next scoring range. Rach, do you want to?
Yeah, I can have that. Yeah, for sure. I scored this 87. So that's the silver merit. I found it really engaging. It's very there's a very instant connection with the dog, and the eye completely captivated me. I can see that, obviously there's just a hint of where the second eye might be coming in. I don't need both of them for this image. I feel like the sharpness around the eye and in the rear part of the nose and the forehead is actually all I need to just draw me in and completely engage me on an emotional level with the animal. So I actually think the depth of field works really well as well. And I thought that emotiveness brought it into the silver with merit range.
Thanks, Rach. Matt, sitting in the highly commended range, what did you think?
Yeah, I gave it a commended for the same reason. I think it's quite striking. It draws you in instantly, but I think I was just looking for a little bit more to it. You get drawn in and you see the animal engage with it, but then yeah, that's it. So I guess I was just looking for that, a little bit more of that connection.
Thanks, Matt. Johannes,
Yep, cool.
keen to contribute?
I gave it an 81. I thought brave move, cutting half of the picture off with the strong linear element in the foreground. But I think a good brave move. I feel the obscurity of the dog gives it a sense of timid or uncertainty. So I think the photographer has added some very interesting elements without being too obvious, and then also very brave to make it into a square, because many photographers don't bother. So I thought, yeah, well done. I might go up.
Thanks, Johan. Back to you, Rach.
Yeah, I think that Johan's really hit on it there with using the word shy. There is a definite feeling of hesitancy and shyness in the subject, and I feel like it very easily could have been the dog being scared or scared of the photographer, but it's not. The photographer has definitely portrayed that feeling of shyness. I sort of just scoping out the lay of the land, wanting to be a part of it. Is that treat for me? Is there a pet coming? Am I going to get a little bit of love? I'll just wait back here and I'll just scope things out a little bit. Am I going to get a silver with merit? And then I'll come out and I'll give you a little bit of a lick. So I think that's what I got within that, and yeah, really enjoying it.
Thanks, Rach. Good chat, judges. Please rescore this photo and let's see where we can get to. Starting at 81, which is a silver award, not to be sniffed at. We have an 84, a very strong silver. Good discussion and hopefully some valuable feedback for the photographer. And here's your next image. We are starting out on 79, which is right at the cusp of between highly commended and silver.
I'll talk.
Worth having a chat about. Sorry?
I said I'll talk.
Yeah, I bet you will. Go for it.
Yeah, this photograph is all about experience. This figure, they're the only one. Oh, I'm in just into silver merit. It's such a pristine environment. There's no footprints except for the one person that's walked into the scene. They're the only ones that have put their mark on the landscape. I like the mood of the darkness looking into the light, but the shadows have been held really quite beautifully, and there is detail in all of the shadows throughout the scene. It's been handled very well. The lines have such a beautiful flow to them, but even though they're flowing to the bottom right corner, you're still pulled up into the sunset or sunrise. Yeah, I just think it's a photograph that makes you want to go to that place and experience that thing.
Thanks, Matt. Michelle, sitting in smack in the middle of the highly commended range. What did you think?
I enjoy the image and I like it, but it's just very, very dark and my eye just keeps getting drawn to the sun. I'm listening to what Matt is saying and how there are no footprints anywhere. And yes, it is an experience to sit there. So I might be being a little bit harsh. It's just very, very dark. I'd love to see it as a print if it was printed nicely, and whether that sun would come down just a little bit. It's just quite bright.
Thanks, Michelle. Simone, you were just sneaking into the silver, Matt's best hope of support at the stage.
Yeah, what was your score, Matt?
Matt was 86.
On 86.
Oh wow. Yeah, I had it at 80, which I thought was a good silver, and I couldn't get it into distinction just because I feel like there's actually just a slight muddiness, which is probably being a bit harsh. but I really enjoyed it, and I think it as well. It's definitely rises above the highly commended. So I feel it's a good. I'm happy in my low silver there.
Thanks, Simone. Can we go back to Matt then?
Yeah, I think it is meant to draw you and your eye to the sun. Everything in the scene is in awe of the sunrise or the sunset. Everything is within the power of that. So I think that is exactly what it's all about. And then it's up to us to explore the rest of the scene as we get drawn to and away from that sun and begin to explore all those little valleys. It probably is maybe a little bit muddy, but then everything in the photograph is brown, so I kind of expect that as well. And I'll ask for a silver if you can.
All right, ready to rock and roll. Let's rescore this image, please. And we have an 81. That is a silver award. Great discussion, judges. Thank you. And here is your next image. And we have an 80. That is a silver award. Very good. That is pretty even scoring. So I would love a piece of constructive feedback for this entrant. If I could, please. Johan's smiling at me. Go on. Can't resist that grin.
What a fun image. Who couldn't love that dog? Who couldn't fall in love with it? And I could if there wasn't such a strong vignette. The vignette overpowers the whole image. I know it's necessary to channel your view to the middle, but it was just a little bit too much.
Thank you, Johan. And next image. And we have a silver award at 80. Can I please have some constructive feedback? We'll come to you this time, Rach.
Yeah, sure. I scored at 83, so right in that silver range. Really love the connection and the detail with the dog and the photographer. I think that the grey vignette is probably a little bit heavier than it needs to be, and also only a couple of the raindrops that are slightly more straight rather than the bokeh sort of softer look in the background. If those elements were a little bit less distracting, I think I'd spend more time engaged with the dog.
Thanks, Rachel. Here is the next image for you to judge. Okay, we have a 78. Pretty consistent scoring there. maybe we could have some good, helpful feedback for how this young photographer could end up in the award range next time. Simone.
Yeah, the photographer's done a beautiful job here. The dogs are really sharp, they're connected, they're looking where they should be, they're calm. So congratulations to the photographer for doing so well, to get that highly commended. I think maybe as an improvement, I think the strength of the whole image is more in the lower part, lower 2/3, and maybe experimenting with the crop, maybe bringing the top down a little bit. And if the photographer even maybe has the time to maybe make the reflection a bit stronger with a bottle of water, could have added a bit more interest to if they had the opportunity. But yeah, well done.
Thank you very much. And here is your next photo. All right, we're starting at an 84, which is pretty solid silver, but I feel like we're going to hear from Matt Palmer.
Yeah, sure. I was kind of teetering around that top of silver merit gold range, and then I thought, oh, I'll be brave and put myself in the deep end. I just think the color palette in this is so gorgeous. Those purples and the warm golden tones just work so beautifully together. That kind of faded feel to the background creates this kind of sense of nostalgia. And then to see an animal performing this action that we see front on a lot of times, I haven't seen too many photographs side on like this with the side profile. And that really gives a sense of how far this dog is going to jump. We see it at the beginning of its leap and we know where it's going to land because that's been included in the photograph. The determination of that eye's gaze towards the left and that little bit of space for it to look into. I just think it's an exceptionally beautiful animal portrait.
Thanks, Matt. Michelle, what do you think?
I scored it right on silver, an 80. I love the purples and it kind of echoes it in the sky as well. It's quite I find the vignetting and probably doesn't need it quite as much as what they've done, especially around the bottom. I love it's a gorgeous image and I really do like it. It's just the symmetry in it. I don't know, my eyes want it just to be, because I've got those gorgeous leading lines on either side. But yeah, I'm listening. I think I'm being a little bit mean. I'm going to come up a little bit, Matt.
Rachel, were you raising your hand? Or Johan definitely is.
Yeah,
Rach, go first.
I was raising. So I scored at 83, and I'm definitely listening to Matt because I am happy to come up. And I don't really have any negatives. So I think that a couple of the things that I did really want to comment on was I really liked how the photographer has ensured that we're getting that tone in the lower muzzle, which works and ties in with the earthy tones between the rows of lavender, and also that we still have catchlight in that eye. So even though the dog's side on, we're still able to engage with that eye line. I'd probably like Michelle said, a little bit more balance in the rows, but because of the nature of the shot, I can understand why that's not there. So I'm probably going to be an easy talker.
How about you, Johan?
Okay, just in terms of that balance, it's got space to jump into. I think that's a definite plus. I like that it's reading from right to left rather than left to right, because that's unexpected. I also like with the vignette that they've left enough clear air in front of the dog for it to move into. In fact, you're led to look in that way. So I think all round it's done very well. I gave it an 84, I think, and I'm happy to go up a level.
Thanks, team. You were 85, actually, Johan.
Oh, there we go.
You already went up a level without even trying. Matt, back to you to bring it home.
Look, I think Johan said it beautifully, and all of the other comments were really well stated as well. So if you can at least bring it into silver with merit, I'd be happy. A good solid score, please.
Thanks, team. Please rescore this photograph. Currently sitting at 84. And we have an 88. That's a very strong silver merit. Congratulations to this entrant. And here's your next image. Oh, hello. There's a score that I hadn't noticed had come in. It is a 76, which is highly commended. Michelle?
Yeah. Yeah, I want a little bit more, please. This really took me when I first saw it. I have a dog that's a doofus and will actually put his head in the water like that and blow bubbles. And I was trying to, I had a really zoomed in look to see whether he's actually drinking or he's not, he's just put his nose in the water. So he's not actually just having a drink, whether he's trying to get something that's underneath the water. And I just love how the photographer has balanced it out where you can see all of his reflection in the water. And if you go really close in, it's just that splash of his nose. His nose is under the water. I'm not sure whether he hasn't been in the water yet. His fur is still all nice and dry, but he just looks so interested. And even though we can't actually see his eyes or anything, I just love how it's like you're seeing double because of his reflection, and none of that has been cut off, and all the tones that are through it just really draws your eye to the dog and then the reflection, and your eyes just end up going round and round. And I think this photographer deserves to be just up into silver. I think it deserves it.
Thanks, Michelle. Simone, did you want to put your nose in the water?
I've scored this at 73, which I thought was a well commended image. I'm struggling with the deep luminance of the yellows, that it's almost either brought back or maybe they could have lifted it to make the image pop a little bit more. And I'm struggling also just with a little bit of a horizon tilt crop of the level of the water as well. Just the interest for me has not taken me any further than that.
Matt's got something to contribute.
Yeah, I was in the commended range. I think the photographer's done really well to capture this in very difficult lighting conditions, so I appreciate that. But for me, I just wasn't getting that connection with the animal that I was hoping for. And I think from the higher score, that connection is coming from the personal experience of having a dog that does that. I don't really have that personal experience to kind of push me. So yeah, I'll listen, but in terms of just somebody looking at the photograph, I'm missing that.
All right, Rach, be quick.
Yep, sorry, be quick. I scored at 78, so I'm highly commended, and I'm actually really happy with it there. I do get that personal connection, having been dog owner, and Simone, I don't get the same issue with the horizon line, even though it is being smack in the middle of the image. But I do feel like there's nothing extra that's being added to this image that's actually taking it into that awards range. The dog's doing its thing, but because we're not able to engage with it at that next level, it's not moving me up any higher.
All right, Michelle, did it work it out for you?
Yeah, what a tough crowd today. But I just really commend the photographer. Keep doing what you're doing. I really enjoyed it. And with that nose, and if you go right in and look, it's just like he's in his own little world and enjoying his day. And he doesn't care that he's meant to be probably standing up looking at the photographer. He's having fun, putting his nose in the water, and it looks like almost blowing bubbles. But you do what you do.
Thanks, judges. If you can please rescore this photo. It's sitting in the highly commended. It's done well so far. And it gets another point more strongly into highly commended at 77. Thank you very much. Here is your next photograph. Okay, bit of a range of scores there. We're starting on 78. Rachel Smith, pushing it up the sand dune, 84.
Yeah, I scored this a solid silver. I didn't score it any higher because of a couple of little technical issues, like the tree right on that baseline sort of being a bit of a distraction and bringing your eye out. I think that the highlights and the shadows are really nicely handled in this, and there's beautiful detail throughout the image, and the curve of the dune just leads my eye all the way through it. And I could probably spend a lot of time if we had it just on that exploration. So that's why I scored it in at silver, but not any higher. So I think that it's definitely in the award range for me.
Not in the award range for you though, Simone, at this stage?
No, I'm afraid I'm not. I've got it in the highly commended at 72, and the photographer's done really well to see this at that angle and the light and all the rest of it. But I'm struggling a lot with. I mean, apart from the technical aspects of like that tree, the crop to the left of that gorgeous, absolutely beautiful angle of the sand there. I'd love to have seen more there. I think there was more of the story to that. And for a silver, and I mean, the descriptor for silver is not what I can see here, I'm afraid, with the next level up of high originality and concept of thought here. There's just a bit too many faults for me, sorry.
Matt, I can see you itching to get in on this.
Yeah, the photographer's done a great job of capturing the detail and the feel of these dunes, the really luscious textures. I feel like there could be benefit of a crop here. So if you were just to run that line into the bottom right corner, that would already take care of those trees on the left there that draw your eye, and then you're really just focusing on that journey through the dune system. But I think this is one of those images where there's possibly multiple photos within the photograph. Like the top of the dune on the right there with the grasses, that's beautifully captured. The curve in the bottom left, that's beautifully captured. It's just as a broad scene, there's a few spaces that kind of let down those really top-notch elements.
Thanks, Matt. Back to Rach.
Yeah, so just to sort of address the tightness on that left-hand side, I feel like that is really what is quite special in the way that the power of that curve and brings you back into the image instead of your eye being drawn straight out of that frame with that tightness. So I feel that that's a strength rather than a weakness. I do agree with Matt on the crop. I think that a careful crop there would have made this image a lot more powerful. But I think that the handling of the details within the image and also the timing of the image so that the sky is actually reflecting the color of the dunes just brings such a dreamy palette together. And that's why I put it into the award range. I feel like it's quite magical. So just bring it up a little bit into silver for me, please.
Thank you, judges.
What's it sitting at the moment, Jace?
Sitting at 78
Okay, Tar.
is the initial score. Just a couple outside that silver range. We'll see if Rach is convinced enough points to get it over the line. We have a 78, which is a strong, highly commended. Good chat, some good feedback for the entrant there. So thank you, judges. And we have our final image of the category. We have an initial score of 80, which is a silver award. And that is in fact quite consistent scoring, so we will accept it. Congratulations to the entrant, and looks like Matt's got some possible feedback.
Yeah, congratulations on the silver. It's beautifully captured, very soulful expression in the dog. I think what would have taken it higher for me is if the dog either juxtaposed or married with the surroundings a little bit more. So I think like a backdrop like this kind of screams out for either more personality or kind of a shrinking personality where it becomes about the difference. So maybe experimenting with that.
Thank you. And that brings us to the end of the under 18 category judging for the 2024 Asia Pacific Photography Awards. Thank you to the judges for your efforts. I think there's some great feedback for these young entrants to go back and reflect on and work on improving their craft. Thank you to the sponsor, Ilford. And congratulations to all the entrants